Alrighty, out here, try out the new glasses again. Pretty happy with them when I was mowing, and I think they have a little better picture than the old ones. Both the glasses were 1080, but these have a auto darkening and lightening seem to be a little better on these, and they fit a little tighter on my head, which makes it a little more stable video, I think. Still not great, but better than it was, I think. Anyway, little Oliver 60 here, neighbor has. This same guy that had the M that I put the crankshaft in, he has a little sprayer that goes on here, and he just sprays around the field edges and whatnot, and says you get a four-wheeler, but this can clear a lot. You can go through a lot taller beans with this than a four-wheeler would, so. But 6-volt system, positive ground. Won't hardly turn over. It says a new battery. Had the starter rebuilt. There's no belt on the generator, which I'm going to get one and hook that back up. He said there hasn't been for a long time, so I don't know if he just put the battery in it every year or what, but I'm trying to get that working. I'm kind of wondering, we got 6.2 volts, which a new battery would probably have about 6.3 or so, or 6.4, but it's not bad. And when you go to crank on it, it only drops about 4.9, which still isn't too bad. And it used to crank over a lot faster, and what I'm wondering is if we're not getting a good ground between the starter and the battery. So we're going to check some resistance here. Cord's all unwound. Got it there on the positive ground. There we got point, about half an ohm. Which 2 ohms or less is considered resistance, or non-resistance. Well, they're only got 2 ohms, so I think we're good. But we still could be having resistance, but it's not we don't have a good enough connection to go ahead and crank the tractor faster. I don't have a 6-volt charger over here, so I gotta run over to Dad's and get the 6-volt charger. And I'm gonna charge the battery up and just see if I can get it to help any. If not, probably gonna have to take a look at the starter and see if something's gone wrong in it. Or we could have resistance in there. It's pretty simple. It's just the battery cable runs up this big heavy starter switch, and he's replaced it, but that might need replaced again. I don't know. So we obviously got some resistance somewhere, I think. Alrighty, I didn't put the battery charger on it, but I wanted to try this one test here first. You can figure out if you got resistance, like if say that, because it's got new cables on it, but if the cable's old and broke down and it's got a bunch of corrosion, where it meets the connection there, or even sometimes if there's a pinch point or something, the cable itself can just break down inside the casing. So what I did here is I just leave, if I hold it on the 2 battery posts, I can get about 4.9 volts. When it's cranking is about what it puts out, or 4.8 or so. See that? But anyway, come over here, put it on the voltage in on the push button. Hold that down. We got 4.5 volts there. Now go over to the other side, and this push button gets awfully hot, awfully fast, because we got an Oliver 70 also. We do. He doesn't. And I mean, you can crank and crank on that thing for a while before the push button, you know, even gets as hot as this one is. And this one here, I'm hardly doing anything. But now, and it's almost too hot to touch. Now I come over here and put this on the outside, on the voltage out, put that post there, push down. We only got like 3.7 volts, so we're losing almost an entire volt just through the switch there, and I have a feeling it's shorting out, and the dash is even getting hot here. So I think that switch is bad, is what the problem is, because we're losing almost an entire volt, which would really make a significant difference in how the tractor starts. So probably go get a new switch and put in it and try it and see how it starts. Alrighty, I got her going here. It was not the key, or not the push button start. Thought it was. It didn't really change anything. Helped a little bit, but not much. So I took the starter off, and he had just had it worked on at a shop, and they didn't find anything wrong with it. Which, after I looked at the brushes, I don't know how he could have found something that was right with it, but the brushes were bad shape, so me and Grandpa took the starter apart, and now honestly I forgot I was making a video, or I would have done a video of it. But we took it apart, took the armature out of it, and put it in the lathe, and recut the part, I think it's called a commuter, I can't remember, the part where the brush is right on. Recut that so that it was nice and square, and then we wrapped some emery paper around that and put the cap back on just the armature part with the brushes, and spun it around, you know, quite a bit to let the brushes, because they were all out of whack, and kind of let them reseat on the armature there. And got oil leaks, as you can see, but anyway, it's the least of our worries. But put that and did all that, put it back together, and well, you can see, and I moved the ground cable over here just to get it a little closer to the starter in case that had anything to do with it. But about as good as you're going to get cranking on a 6-volt system. Turn the gas off because it dripped something terrible. But anyway, a little 60. I'd like to have this little, I told the guy if he ever wants to sell it, I'd buy it off of him. I could just leave it hooked to the little feed grinder. It'd be a nice little feed grinding tractor. Needs a little work, quite a bit of work still, but didn't want to mess the generator. He said he charges the battery up once a year, and that's all it ever needs, so whatever. But it is a, well, I think something's wrong with the clutch here. But anyway, a good running little tractor though. It is a 5-speed 60. It's not a 4-speed. It's really a 6-speed, but they just call it a 5-speed because the 5th and 6th gear don't really have much of a difference. Bought a new feed trough there. The next project I'm going to do this afternoon after I grind some feed, and I'm going to make a video of that. Been getting rain like no other. Kind of had a little bit of a surprise to you guys when we go to cut the wheat, but we'll see if that still happens. Nothing. And no, I didn't get the 7600 running, so. Well, come on. Brakes don't work very well. But anyway, well, thanks for watching this little bit of a video here. We'll see you on the next one.